Let's bring in former Navy SEAL, the man who killed Osama bin Laden, and Fox News contributor Rob O'Neill. Rob, your reaction to all of this?
Well, this is, there are a few things, like I said yesterday, that's more sacred than a Gold Star family, especially a Gold Star mom. You know, and you got to, I have a mother that sent me to combat a lot, and it's actually easier to go to combat than it is to send someone to combat, I'm assuming. But right now what they're doing here is exactly what the Clintons wanted. This is a big distraction. They're not talking about any of the accomplishments or any, I mean, to say, okay, Donald Trump trashes the military, that's not the case at all. Mr. Trump has said over and over he wants to, make the military as strong as we can. He's a big believer in deterrence and a strong military because force will equal peace. And as far as the woman at the rally, again, a mother, well, I feel her son's name is Staff Sergeant Harmon. I think he's going to have a rough day today because I doubt he and Mom talked about this. Mom, get on TV and make sure, because I'm deployed. Make sure,
I don't mean to laugh, but it's true.
I feel bad. I've been in spots before in the military where he didn't want anything known. I Googled his name today. I'm like, oh boy, his boss and then his boss's boss are going to have a word or two with he.
Well,
but still, I mean, booing an Air Force mom at an event, I think that's a little bit out of line. I can give the Trump supporters a little advice. You want to win the election, stop booing military families. I mean, and they're just getting a little don't let emotions take over. Just take a deep breath, realize what's going on. This is all part of the Clinton machine. And they're going to talk about Hillary Clinton's accomplishments as a 6-year senator. She had one bill passed to law that was to rename a courthouse. And
she voted. And again, when asked about the Khan family, and it was a political speech, it was at the Democratic National Convention, and Mr. Khan hasn't given to either a political campaign, and he told the Wall Street Journal, I will speak at Republican events. But nevertheless, it was at the DNC. But when asked about it, all Donald Trump had to say was, I respect this family's sacrifice.
That's all you need. That's all.
And that's it. And then he could have, if he wanted to pivot politically, he could have said, Hillary Clinton voted for the Iraq War, and I did not support it. And then, in terms of the surge, she voted against the surge. So when times got tough, she turned her back on the very war that she voted for because of the political implications, because she was getting ready to run against Barack Obama.
I mean, she's going to say what she needs to say just for the political reasons. That's it right there. I mean, the war in Iraq was popular before we invaded. It got unpopular. She voted against it. It's one of those things. But I think Mr. Khan also, he worked for a law firm out of Washington, D.C. that has a lot to do with the Clinton Foundation. And you got to figure, there's been, Mr. Khan didn't show up when John Kerry ran. He didn't show up when President Obama ran or when President Obama ran again, but he shows up now for the Clintons. He could have showed up a long time ago. It's just they're politicizing a lot of the stuff that should not be politicized at all. And again, then it seems like they're dragging families into it, and just it shouldn't be like that.
Right. And to the candidate's point, he needs to stop stepping in these traps that look like they're being...
It's an obvious trap, too.
Right. It's a trap. It's just like I brought this up earlier. It's those DNC emails. It was a horror show what was uncovered in the email leak. And the Democrats immediately made it about that Vladimir Putin wants Trump to win, and Putin's interfering in the election, and Trump stepped right in that as well.
They're stepping into him. And for either side of the aisle, the left or the right, the advice I would give is don't boo military families, and only remarks about Gold Star families should be thank you for your family sacrifice, and that no child should ever outlive their parents. It's that simple.
Period. Let me move on. Something that you care a great deal about. President Obama went on to tout increased spending on veterans care under his administration while slamming Republican budget cuts.
With advanced appropriations, we're protecting veterans' health care from the annual Washington budget battles. But I do have to point this out. Republicans in Congress have proposed cutting my VA budget. And when they return in the fall, they should pass the budget our veterans need and fund it fully. Don't just talk about standing with veterans. Don't just talk about me. Do something to support our veterans. That's what you need to do.
Rob, given your service, do you think that the president should be making veterans care a political issue?
I would be very careful to make it an issue, because I actually am part of the VA, and I go to some of the hospitals, one right there down in D.C. near the White House, and I would recommend, without calling a few days ahead and saying there's some officials coming, just do a cold call, walk in there. It is like a homeless shelter. It's disgusting. I hated going there. That's just because of the staff that is there before. Once you get to the healthcare providers, the nurses are amazing, the doctors are incredible. I actually had surgery a year and a half ago to repair my bicep. I was in the recovery room. The surgeon asked me, "Is that your cell phone?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, you might want to hide it because if you go back to sleep, someone might steal it." So that coupled, you know, all the way up to the 20 suicides a day because of bad care, I wouldn't say it's getting any, but throwing money at it's not going to do anything. You need to shake it up. You need to fire some of the people that are there. People there realize they're government employees. There's nothing you can do to me, and they don't really work that hard. Again, the doctors, the nurses, outstanding. But
the administrators.
and the terrible.
Staff.
And throwing money at it's not going to help. You need someone. A lot of people there care, and I don't want to broad brush stroke it, but a lot of people don't care too, and they need to be worried about. Not even worried. They you know, I could be fired.
How do you? And I'll, David, get in here, but like, how do you work in that job and not give a damn? How do you work in a job where you are servicing those people who put their lives on the line for your own freedom? And how do you not give a damn?
I think it's a small percentage that don't give a damn that make the biggest problem. Like I said, a lot of people there do care, but there are a few there that don't care, and I mean, I have horror stories at that place because I've been there, I've seen it, and there's stuff going on at those VAs that people wouldn't believe, and they can come out on television and say, well, it's getting better and it's doing this, and I haven't seen the suicide rate come down. I haven't seen the people with traumatic brain injuries that are in long waiting lines. I've personally sat there on my computer, put my phone on speaker, was on hold for 2 hours until it finally said, sorry, no one's available. Click. There's a waste of your time. I have stuff to do, but there are people that don't.
And there's been an Inspector General's report about that, about the suicide hotline, when the calls get routed, that people are put on hold. Rob, thank you for your service. I don't think that we can say that enough to
I appreciate you saying that.
And hope your bicep's okay.
Rob.
Yeah.
Bicep it repaired pretty well. Just years of wear and tear, and then one bad night, just trying to pull something that didn't work, and it popped. They took care of it.
Feel better.
Thank you.
But thank you and thank everybody,
Certainly.
because we are the land of the free because we're the home
I
of the
appreciate
brave.
saying that. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.